He was with God in the beginning. Through him all things were made. Without him nothing that was made has been made. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. The light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. He became flesh and made his dwelling among us. We have seen his glory, the glory of the one and only Son, who came from the Father, full of grace and truth. Jesus was there in the beginning when the world was being made. In fact, it was made through him. Yet this same Jesus is the one we find lying in a feeding trough in a mucky stable, with the only witnesses being a bunch of shepherds who no one should believe anyway. Kings are supposed to be born in palaces. And if there's one thing that this part of the Christmas story suggests to me, is that if Jesus is willing to come down and be born in this cold, mucky stable and live a life firmly outside of luxury, well, he can deal with our mess. Jesus never spent much time in palaces or even temples. He was mostly out in the hills or on a lake. He wasn't welcomed in by the upper classes of the day. Instead, he was crucified. And there will always be parts of this story that are a mystery to me. I don't know how the physics of God living in a man worked. I don't know how it must have felt for such divine power to rest in the vulnerability of a baby's body. But there's one verse that explains the true miracle of Christmas to me in a way that I actually get. And it's found in Philippians 2. It says that Christ Jesus, who being in very nature God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage. Instead, he made himself nothing, being made in human likeness. The real miracle of Christmas, to me, is that Jesus gave up his status, the highest status of all, to rescue us. Jesus was never a no-hoper in the typical sense. In fact, he was sort of the opposite. But he gave up everything he had and was born in a mucky old stable, and he did it because he loves no-hopers like me. And he loves people like Mary and the shepherds and the ones who feel like donkeys at Christmas time. He gave up everything he had to live a life that you could understand and set an example that you could follow and make a sacrifice that would pay for your freedom. And I want to say these words again. In him was life, and that life was the light of all mankind. And the light shines in the darkness, and the darkness has not overcome it. Merry Christmas.